It's the band clap on the track.
I was influenced by Isaac Hayes as a kid. My mother lived a couple of houses from one of his houses over there in South Memphis, South Parkway. They have all kind of gold albums out there, and I think that was a big influence on me with the music. I met quite a few people at that time too that worked with Stax. Knowing Willie Mitch, met Pop Mitch at Royal Studios. You know, he did Al Green, a lot of his major, music from back in the day, jazz musician, artist, producer. As far as working with Dexter now, Xavier, they was a rock group out of Memphis and they got a deal with MTV. So that was a big deal for me because I was around them and I was actually with Dex when he was writing a lot of those songs on those albums. And I helped out being a roadie or whatever they needed me to do on the road at that particular time. So, just different things kind of influenced me to go into having my own label. It was around about, I guess, 88, somewhere up in that area, though. We came with Gangsta Pat. But we went from there, we created the studio, put all new equipment in there. And I guess that's when, Tony and them was doing their thing over there, which was Anthony. And that tragic happened with him getting, someone killed him in Memphis. Easy called the studio, sent his condolence about Tony because him and Tony knew each other. And that's how I came and encountered Rufus Records. And he invited us to come out to L.A. and we went to L.A. B, Pat, Pretty Tony, and Mike went with us, which was one of my friends that was helping me out on a lot of stuff with the business too, as far as, different things on promoting the music and all. And when we went to LA, we was running all around, man. We had like 800 pages at that time, so they had us running all over LA. And we really didn't connect with Easy at that time, because I guess he was out of town or whatever the case was. But we did go up to Priority Records. And when we went up to Priority Records, they looked like the office they was moving for some reason, man. There was stuff all over the place, man. It was boxes and, just looked like the office was in shambles, man. So they was moving upstairs and we really didn't get a chance to talk to the guy. But, now that I think about it, they did that movie Straight Outta Compton. And I guess Ice Cube had just wrecked that office. So that might have been around that time when we went to L.A. when Ice Cube was kind of branching off from NWA. And I guess Easy was looking in other areas for talent. And that's why he was talking to Tony and called us down to see about signing Pat. And at that time, I guess when we went into Priority Records, I had Pretty Tony with me, Gangsta Pat, and I think Mike, and it might have kind of shook them people a little bit because I guess Easy talked to the guy or whatever, but we did go there, and then we came back to Memphis, and that's when that I'm the Gangsta started taking off.
Let the bass come in, then I'ma start coming hard enough to bust the money to cover one of the hardest gangsta artists, in effect, not a prankster. I wanna learn such a prankster.
But the good thing that I did see is that by all the artists being there, waiting their turn, and they all just wanted some music, and Reg had his hands full.
Well, it was a testing time back then. We had to work on quite a bit of stuff, and then I had to understand the contractual agreements as far as my publishing, copyrights, your point system. Just a number of things that I had to learn, and dealing with the distributors and distribution deals, and also, make sure the operations was ran properly day to day.
But A-Ball and them had the streets hot. Gangsta Pat had some good music out there too. That was like, but when A-Ball and them came, it kind of like you started seeing OTS, like, coming to the front.
Cooling at the crib with the brew in the icebox. That air smells of collard greens, cornbread, and ham box. I got my lady in the kitchen cooking dinner. As soon as I eat my dinner, I'm gonna go up in her.
I originally had 8-Ball first. A guy named Roy Jackson, a friend of mine, brought 8-Ball to the studio. And we was grooming 8-Ball to come out with him as a solo artist. And then he brought Marlon down there, which is MJG, known as MJG. He brought Marlon down there to rap on a song that they did called Listen to the Lyrics. And when I heard how Marlon snapped in his style, I knew it was so unique. So we sit down and I said, instead of just doing the solo artist thing with 8-Ball, we're gonna put you guys together as 8-Ball and MJG, and that's how it came about with them.
It's like everybody made an impact because some of the artists was from North Memphis, and that was Al Capone, Skinny Pimp,
Tila, Cody, and Jessborn, DJ Jessborn. They was a group called Second Level. They was pretty talented too. This guy that used to manage them, which is Larry Clark, actually brought Tila to me. He had quite a few artists that come through there, and then you had some that demoed that actually had records to break too as well, like Pretty Tony. He was working with us at OTS, and he cut a record over there with one of the producers, Slice, DJ Slice, and it did well. Juicy J, I encountered him. He was a DJ through Psycho. Psycho was a producer there, and also Psycho was a rapper as well. He created some of the funkiest beats that you can ever imagine that supplied that gangster walk. And DJ Paul was upcoming. He was very determined, so he used to come by the studio a lot too, and I just took to him as a little brother and went from there. Years later on, they hooked up and they formed 3-6 Mafia. And they worked and took off, and they came back and did a lot of stuff with it, OTS too. Showed some love. As far as the movies, we did choices, worked on the albums together and different songs, you know, so that's how I encountered them as far as the group blowing up and winning the Oscar and stuff like that, you know what I mean? I think that was pretty major. That was major for the hustle and flow.
So a lot of labels or people that started doing their music and was coming out, it kind of was like a carbon copy off of OTS with the clique of artists up under one roof. So, you know, I kind of looked at OTS as like a powerhouse.
SMK, I knew about SMK through this rapper named Kid Money, and SMK produced a track on it, and it was one of the records that I know when I used to be at Studio D having those juke contests. That was one of the records that they liked it, and that's how I kind of got on SMK as a producer.
I knew I wanted to work with Reginald when he showed me the studio, and he was like, let that man through and play them beats.
When he came to the studio with Radical T, that's when I had a chance to formally meet him, and one thing led to another one. He ended up producing a few tracks for us with 8-Ball, which is one we put on an album. That was Kick That Shit. That was on that Memphis 8-Ball, Memphis JG, Memphis Underworld. And it was like the center point. It was a key center point for Memphis music with the hip hop era. And that was in Orange Mound. That's exactly where the birth of the hip hop of Memphis right there. We had the studio right there in the Mound, the red building.